For me, the most important change that has been happening in the last 5 years is the speed in which technology have been eroding, erupting, and at the same time, many technologies are coming up. We see also disruption of technologies, and certainly this has had an influence on the industrial development. In the last year, you may recall Hannover Messe 2011. The concept of Industry 4.0 was born, and it has been evolving over time. But when the Germans coined the concept of Industry 4.0, it related only to the factory. This idea of the smart factory that is fully automated. Nowadays, as you know, the WEF has coined the concept of the fourth industrial revolution, which is the blending, the convergence of many technologies. Here in Russia, you have also this idea of the convergence of technologies, and it is that you have at the middle digital technology, data, and from data you have artificial intelligence, you have cloud computing, but it's the merging with the physical, with the digital, with the biotechnology that is making the big change, and this is what has been happening in the last years. Well, we have been partnering with a number of platforms. Certainly the flagship platform is GMIS. I think this is one of the most important platforms in the world, dealing exclusively with industrialization and the future of manufacturing. But we have been doing this in a number of other platforms, in particular in Asia, in ASEAN, in the ASEAN countries, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines. There is a lot going on, there is a lot of demand. So we have been discussing this, but UNIDO would like to go beyond being the discussion platform, because it is important that we raise awareness about this phenomena. But what we would like is to see how we can adapt and help the countries to prepare to this technology paradigm change, but also to implement new technologies within our activities. I give you an example. In Ghana, we are trying to implement traceability for through blockchain for the cacao production. We have been trying to implement optical sensor medition in order to check on wood export. So we are definitely working with a number of technologies and making this reality. In developing countries, and that's the perspective of UNIDO, I would think that what is important is, first of all, to try to understand. It doesn't mean that there is a new technological process and that you have to adjust and adapt to it. But what happens is that there are tremendous implications. As you know, investment, foreign direct investment, was driven by the low cost of labor. We saw all this migration to China because the cost of labor was very cheap. But nowadays, it means that the foreign direct investment will not have as the main driver the cost of labor. It will have also proximity. It will have the consumer. You will be able to produce through 3D printing, additive manufacturing in a different manner. So developing countries can attract investment only if they can offer other elements that do not relate only to labor but also to other commodities. They need to prepare their innovation ecosystem. They need to make sure that the countries as such are prepared. And certainly for the industries, if we talk of industries, the companies, it is important that they are aware of where can they adjust technologies. It's not that you can migrate in one go. Yeah, it is that you have to be selective and step by step start adjusting to technology. Certainly for big companies, medium companies that are linked to the big companies, it may be easier to migrate because we are moving towards digital global value chain. And if you are part of a global value chain, you are forced to do it. But for other companies, it's much more difficult to enter this game. I would say Russia has its own Industry 4.0 new industrial revolution approach. which is coined with the concept of convergent technology, natural-based technologies, but it all follows the same pattern. And this is one of the already enriching elements, that we are confronting these two elements together. So on the one side, that GMIS is taking the topics with the definitions used here in Russia, but also that GMIS is bringing a lot of new ideas. It is bringing a lot of new approaches, business models to the knowledge of the enterprises here. I visited InnoProm. InnoProm is an excellent exhibition where you can see also that Russia and the industries here are taking up much more these technologies, and they are preparing. And when you get exposed to something new, you can see, then you really see that it is a challenge, you get motivation. And this is important. We need to show to the industrial sector that this is an opportunity, while we have to raise awareness to the governments that there are challenges for society, for the industries, there are opportunities, and they have to seize in order to reap the benefits of this new industrial revolution.